I should have stopped her the first time, should have yanked her out of the damn chimney, told her to cut the shit, forced her to snap out of whatever dark hole she was falling into. But I didn't, because I thought it was just grief. I thought she was coping, and now my wife is gone. Not dead, not missing. Gone. And the worst part? I think she's still here, watching me, waiting. It started small, little things that didn't make sense. Doreen would sit still for hours, staring at the same spot on the wall like she was watching something move. She'd wake up in the middle of the night and press her face to the window, not looking outside, but looking through it. She stopped talking, stopped eating, stopped living. I tried to pull her back, but after we lost Junior, something inside her just snapped. And then, one night, she spoke. For the first time in months, and I wish to God she hadn't. I was outside on the porch, drinking straight from a whiskey bottle, trying to forget how quiet the house had become, and then, out of nowhere, I heard her voice, loud, clear, and fucking wrong. Have you ever looked up through a chimney, Jim? I nearly choked. I hadn't heard her voice in 4 months, 3 weeks, and 6 days. I jumped up so fast I almost knocked over my chair. Doreen? No answer. I rushed inside, heart hammering, searching every dark corner of the house. Living room, kitchen, stairs, nothing. And then I heard it again. Closer. This is probably what it looked like through Junior's eyes. Right before he passed. My blood ran cold. I turned the corner, and there she was, crawled halfway into the fucking chimney. Her head and shoulders were jammed inside, her legs spilling out onto the floor like a broken doll. Doreen! My voice cracked. What the hell are you doing? She didn't move, didn't flinch. Then, slowly, her hand started clawing at the brick, dragging herself deeper. No, 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 no! I grabbed her ankles and pulled, hard. The second I did, she let out this horrible screech, not a scream, not a cry, a sound so inhuman I let go out of pure fucking shock. She scrambled further inside, and then, have you ever looked up through a chimney, Jim? I backed away, heart pounding, breath shaking. Couldn't do this. I didn't call the cops, didn't call an ambulance, I just went upstairs, closed the bedroom door, took my whiskey to bed like I was having an affair. And all night long, she kept screaming that same question, over and over and over. And in the morning, she was gone. I should have packed my shit and left, should have grabbed my keys, walked out the front door and never looked back. But I didn't. Because where the fuck would I even go? Doreen was my wife, my whole life. I couldn't just leave her like that. I told myself she'd come back, that I'd wake up in the morning, find her curled up in bed, and we'd pretend none of it happened. But the next morning, she wasn't in bed. She wasn't anywhere. At first I thought maybe she'd finally lost it and wandered off. Then I stepped into the kitchen, and there she was, standing dead still in front of the wall. Her back to me, her head tilted just slightly, like she was listening to something, and in front of her, a Pringles can. The bottom was cut out, and she had her eye pressed against it, staring through it like a telescope. I stopped in the doorway. Doreen? She didn't move, didn't blink. Then, in a voice so calm it made my skin crawl, she said, "I can see him." My mouth went dry. See who? Junior. Cold dread slammed through my chest. Baby, Junior's gone. She let out this tiny little laugh, almost amused. He's not gone, Jim. He's right there, looking at me, looking through. I stepped closer. Looking through what? The tunnel, she whispered. The one he went through when he died. I stared at her, my whole body numb, and then she turned to face me. And holy fuck, her eyes. They were black, not dark. Not shadowed, fucking pitch black, like 2 deep holes in her skull. I stumbled back, knocking over a chair. Jesus Christ, Doreen, what the hell is wrong with your eyes? She blinked. And just like that, they were normal again. Like I'd imagined. Like I was losing my fucking mind. Doreen smiled. The first smile I'd seen from her in months. It's okay, Jim. Her voice was soft. He says you'll see it too. Soon. I felt sick. My whole body was screaming at me to get the fuck out, but I couldn't move. She turned back to the wall, lifting the Pringles can again. I watched, frozen, as she pressed her eye to it. She whispered, almost lovingly, I just have to go deeper. And then, before I could react, she dropped to all fours and scurried away. Not walked, not crawled, scurried on her hands and feet like some fucking spider, straight into the fireplace, back into the chimney, and then, just like before, silence. I stood there for what felt like forever. Then slowly, I forced myself forward, heart pounding, hands shaking. I leaned over the fireplace and peered inside. Darkness, cold brick, nothing else. Doreen? No answer. I swallowed hard, took a deep breath. Then, against every ounce of fucking common sense, I lowered my head into the chimney. And I looked up. I shouldn't have looked. I swear to God I shouldn't have. Because the second I stuck my head into that chimney, I saw something that broke me. At first, it was just darkness. Cold, empty brick stretching up into black nothing. But then, I saw her, Doreen, crammed inside the chimney, way, way higher than she should have been able to climb. Her arms and legs were bent at impossible angles, twisted up like some broken doll, and her face, holy fuck. Her mouth was stretched into this huge, unnatural grin, but her eyes were gone. Just 2 gaping holes, dark and empty, like something had scooped them out. Then she moved. Her whole body jerked in a sick, twitchy motion, like she was trying to squeeze even deeper inside. And that's when I heard it, this horrible, wet whisper coming from somewhere above her. Go deeper. I fucking lost it. I grabbed her ankle, yanking hard. Doreen, get the fuck out of there, she screamed. Not a normal scream. Not a scream of pain. It was joyful, laughing and shrieking at the same time like she was ecstatic. I pulled harder. Doreen, come on, please. And then, something pulled back. Something above her, yanking her upward. I almost fucking threw up. Grabbed harder, digging my nails into her skin. No, 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 you're not taking her. Then suddenly, she dropped. Her whole body came crashing down, hitting the bricks hard. I scrambled backward as she collapsed onto the floor in a twisted, gasping heap. Her skin was ice cold. Ash clung to her hair, her clothes, her face. But the worst part? Her eyes were back. Like nothing had happened. Like I'd imagined the whole thing. She blinked up at me, dazed, her lips parting. Then she whispered, Jim. I saw it. I saw where he went. I was shaking. What the fuck are you talking about? Her eyes filled with tears. He's waiting for me. I gripped her shoulders, desperate. Doreen, no. Whatever you saw, whatever you think is happening, it's not real. It's in your head. She let out this soft little laugh, brushing soot from her cheek. Oh, Jim. Her voice was so sad. Then she leaned forward and whispered, It's in. Yours too. And suddenly, I understood. The dreams, the whispers, the pull. I'd been feeling it too. I'd just been pretending it wasn't there. Pretending I wasn't hearing something every time I stood near the fireplace. Pretending I didn't feel that weird, horrible urge to look inside. Go deeper. See? My stomach twisted. I shoved away from her, my whole body shaking. I needed to get the fuck out, but then Doreen grabbed my wrist. Hard, her fingers dug into my skin, her nails pressing deep. And when she looked at me, her expression was dead fucking serious. Jim, you have to come with me. I should have run. I should have just left her there and never looked back. But I didn't. I stayed. Her fingers, icy cold and trembling, wrapped around my wrist tighter. And all I could think, all I could hear in my head was that damn voice again, the one whispering at the edge of my thoughts. Go deeper. Doreen's grip was strong, stronger than I thought she could be. She yanked me toward the chimney, and I stumbled after her, barely able to catch my breath. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. I could feel it too. The pull, like something inside that dark, cold void was calling to us. She didn't need to explain. It felt like an old memory, something buried deep inside me, like a part of me had been waiting for this moment for years. A part of me knew this was where we belonged. But as I got closer to that fucking chimney, the fear hit me all at once. The air turned ice cold, a smell of rotting flowers filling my nose, thick and suffocating. I nearly gagged, but Doreen didn't even blink. She just kept tugging me forward, her eyes wide, like she was on the verge of something huge, something she needed to see. I stopped. Doreen, stop! My voice was shaking. Please, this isn't you, this isn't us! But she didn't hear me. She reached up and grabbed the bricks above her, pulling herself deeper into the chimney. I didn't know how she was able to climb, and not with her body like that, her legs twisted and bent. But she did. And once she did, her head tilted back, staring upward, and that's when I heard it. That whisper again. Come on, Jim. Come and see. I froze. I should have run. But I didn't. I reached for her. My hand brushed against her ankle, cold, hard as stone. But I couldn't stop myself. I had to know. With one last push, I climbed in after her. The world spun. The moment I passed the first brick, it felt like my body was being squeezed, crushed, like I wasn't meant to be there, like I was too alive for the place we were heading, but I didn't turn back. I couldn't. I crawled after her, inch by inch, my hands scraping against the rough walls of the chimney. The further we went, the darker it got, and the more the air felt like it was closing in on me. And then I saw it. The tunnel. It was just like Doreen described, a coil twisting off from the main path, stretching into infinity. It felt alive. Could hear it breathing. And at the end, there was Junior. But he wasn't the same. His face, his eyes, they were wrong. He looked at me, but it wasn't the face of my son anymore. It was twisted, angry, and he shook his head. Disappointment. No, Jim, his voice echoed. You don't belong here. Before I could react, the hands came, thousands of them. Black fingers curled out of the stone, wrapping around my legs, my arms, pulling me deeper. I kicked. I screamed. But the hands didn't stop. They dragged me toward the tunnel. The last thing I saw before everything went black was Doreen, her face filled with a sick, twisted grin. And I realized then, it was too late. She'd found her way. And now, so had I woke up in the fireplace, my body covered in ash, my wrist still broken from the fall. And Doreen? She was gone. But the whispering, it never stopped. And I know now, no matter what I do, it'll never stop. The depths are calling. And soon, I'll answer.